I'm Nujeen Mustafa, 26 years old. I'm from Kobani, Syria.
Were you surprised with being selected as this year's Pro Dignitate Humana laureate? Were you familiar with the award prior to receiving it?
I was not familiar with the award. I was pleasantly surprised and delighted that the Polish government dedicated an award for human rights advocates from all around the world, and I was happy to be chosen for this year's award, and that it focused on disability in conflict and disability rights advocacy.
Would you agree that we are currently facing the largest global refugee crisis ever if we sum up all of its parts worldwide? Do you think the people and institutions in power are doing enough to provide the necessary aid and, more importantly, to eliminate the root causes?
That's, I think, my big issue with this, the refugee crisis that we see all around the world, and the conflicts that we see breaking out are intimately intertwined with each other. And fortunately, I think not enough effort is being done on both fronts to either to accommodate migrants or to eliminate the root causes of conflict, which happens for varied reasons. But really, our concern or the basic human reaction should be just to prevent that from happening in the first place, so that no one is forced to leave home and become displaced or have to rely on other countries for help.
What would you say is the best way to support the fight for refugees' rights and for people with disabilities' rights as well, from an everyman perspective, a thing that each of us, each and every one of us can do every day to help these causes?
Maybe watch the news if they are being too antagonistic about refugees, and say something about it. Voice your opinion. Voice that you disagree with the direction that the narrative is taking, and listen to different narratives about refugees, and try to broaden the perspective you have on the topic. Really, education is the best way to go in that way. From a day-to-day perspective, maybe if you live close to a refugee center or know a refugee yourself, try to get closer to these people, try to get to know them. I know that some may face that with apprehension, but really, if we get closer to each other, both parties have to do that. We realize that we have much more in common than we have differences, and really, that's the best way to, I guess, eliminate fear of the other in each party, and to get closer in perspective and listen to one another, and be more accepting of what the other has to offer.
For those of our listeners who are not familiar with this distinction, can you please tell a bit about the Pro Dignitate Humana award?
Yes, it's an annual award awarded by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Poland since 2011 for exceptional courage, for showing human dignity, and for working for human rights, democracy, and rule of law.
Can you share the most important reasons behind the decision to single out Nujeen Mustafa as this year's laureate?
Well, I think her whole history of life shows courage and exceptional determination to fight for herself, but also for all the others. She is working, I would say, in a niche. She is an activist, human rights defender who's been fleeing Syria, that was back then in the middle of the war. Despite her disabilities, she succeeded in rescuing herself, in rescuing her family. She traveled to Europe. She got an asylum in Germany, and right now she's thriving and working for a better world, for a better situation of persons with disabilities. She was the first person that talked in the Security Council official meeting about the situation of persons with disabilities in conflict situations, and she is just remarkable. So we decided it's time to award the award to her.